Okay, so you've sent us Atomic Habits, which, I mean, says you're ready to like really dive into self-improvement.
Yeah,
And this book is seriously like it's packed with advice,
it's true.
but we're not just summarizing it.
Right.
We're gonna like really get into how these concepts can work for you.
Absolutely. And what I think is so cool about this book is it's not just about like setting goals.
Yeah.
It really digs into like why we form habits.
Yeah.
So you can figure out not just, what to change,
Right.
but how to actually make it stick.
Yeah, because we've all done that thing where it's like New Year's resolution. I'm gonna do this. And then a month later, you're like, back to square one.
It's gone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And Clear starts by talking about these tiny gains. He says it's the like little, almost invisible things we do every single day that actually make us who we are.
It's like that saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Exactly.
But what I think is really cool is how he connects this to like compound interest.
Yeah,
We get that with money, but like with habits.
absolutely.
That's amazing.
And so just like, that 1% interest every day really adds up.
Right.
If you improve just 1% every day in any area of your life,
Wow. Yeah.
it leads to like huge results over time.
Okay.
But of course, the opposite is true too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Those tiny bad habits we barely even notice can really pile up and hold us back.
Yeah, that's both motivating and terrifying.
Right.
Makes you rethink hitting that snooze button.
Seriously. And that brings us to what he calls the plateau of latent potential. And he uses this great example of ice melting.
Okay.
Like you can picture it, right?
Yeah.
You're watching the ice, you're
Yeah.
putting in all this effort.
Uh-huh.
But for the longest time, it's like nothing's happening.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Right.
Tell me about it.
I know. And most people, they give up right there.
Yeah.
They think because they don't see progress
Right.
that nothing's happening.
Yeah.
But just like with the ice, there's this turning point
Yep.
where all that consistent effort you've been putting in it finally breaks through.
So you're saying all those times I'm struggling and I want to give up,
Uh-huh.
that actually might be a sign I'm on the right track.
Exactly. It's all part of the process.
Wow.
And this is where he introduces this really game-changing idea.
Mm-hmm.
He says, instead of focusing on goals, we should focus on building systems.
Okay, break that down for me. What does he mean by systems?
It's really simple but powerful.
Okay.
So say your goal is to write a novel.
Okay.
That could feel really overwhelming, right?
Yeah. A little bit.
But what if instead of focusing on like the finished book,
Right.
you focused on building a system of writing every single day, even if it's just a little bit?
So it's more about like falling in love with the process than just like getting to the end result.
Exactly.
I like that.
And that actually connects to another big idea from the book, identity-based habits.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
Clear says that the habits we have, they actually shape who we are.
Okay.
And the kind of person we believe we are shapes the habits we build.
Sounds like a two-way street.
Exactly.
Oh.
So it's not just about like fake it till you make it. It's about living it
Yeah.
until it's just who you are naturally.
Give me an example. I need to wrap my head around this.
Okay, so instead of saying, I want to lose weight,
Yeah.
an identity-based way of thinking would be more like, I am becoming a healthy person.
Oh.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
You're aligning your actions with the person you want to be.
So it's about embodying it.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And that's actually where his 4 laws of behavior change come in.
Ooh. Okay, before we get to the laws.
Yeah.
Because those are really important.
They are.
I want to talk about something else that really struck me in the book.
Okay.
The importance of environment.
Yeah.
Argues that like where we are
Yeah.
and what surrounds us really affects how we act.
It's incredible how much our environment influences our actions
Right.
without us even realizing it.
Okay, so give me an example of that.
Okay, he talks about this study in Pakistan
Okay.
where researchers were trying to figure out how to get people to wash their hands more often.
Hand washing.
Yeah.
Okay, I would not have thought of that, but I'm interested.
It's a great example.
Okay.
So it turned out people knew they should wash their hands.
Yeah.
But they just weren't doing it.
Okay.
And the researchers, they found that just by giving people soap, making it easier to wash their hands actually made a huge difference.
Wow. So it's like just having that little thing there
Yeah, just making it easy.
made them actually do the thing they knew they should do anyway.
Exactly.
That's really powerful.
Right.
It makes you think about your own life and what you could change just like around you that would make you do the things you know you want to be doing.
It's about setting yourself up for success.
Totally. And it's not just about making good habits easier.
Right.
It's about repetition and practice.
Absolutely.
It's like learning a language or an instrument.
Right.
You don't just wake up one morning fluent.
Exactly.
It's the same with habits.
It takes time to build those neural pathways.
That's such a good way to put it. Like
Yeah.
building those roads in your brain so you just do the thing.
The more you do something, the more automatic it becomes.
And he even talks about dopamine.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the brain's happy chemical.
The reward system.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just when something feels good, but when you're looking forward to something.
Like anticipating it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, how does that work like in real life?
Okay, so remember that example of writing a novel?
Yeah.
Imagine you give yourself like a little reward every time you finish a chapter.
Okay.
Maybe a piece of chocolate or something.
I was going to say a glass of wine.
That works too.
So you're training your brain to want the writing,
Yes.
not just the reward at the end.
Exactly.
That's actually really cool.
Right.
I like that.
And he even talks about this idea of temptation bundling.
Okay.
So you take something you want to do
Uh-huh.
and you link it with something you already enjoy.
So I could be like, okay, I really want to watch this show,
Yes.
but I'll only let myself watch it.
While you're on the treadmill.
Exactly.
There you go.
Perfect.
You're building that habit.
And then on the other side,
Yes.
he talks about making bad habits less appealing.
Right, like adding a consequence.
Yeah.
He calls it a habit contract.
Okay.
You actually write down the habit you want to break, and then what'll happen if you do it.
So it's like that thing where people are like, if I don't do this,
Yes.
I'm going to donate this money
Exactly.
to an organization I hate.
Makes you think twice.
Right.
There's actually this story in the book
Oh, yeah.
about this guy who wanted to lose weight,
Uh-huh.
and he made himself pay his friend like $100 every time he missed a workout.
Wow.
It worked.
$100.
That's motivation.
That's a lot.
It is.
But I guess it worked.
It did. And that actually brings us to the fourth law of behavior change,
Okay.
making it satisfying.
Right. Because if it doesn't feel good,
Exactly.
you're not going to keep doing it.
No one wants to do something they hate.
So how do you make the good habits feel good?
Right. Because some of them are just hard work.
Exactly.
Well, Claire has some really good tips for this.
Okay, tell me.
One thing that really works is habit tracking.
Oh, like those apps?
Yeah, or even just a notebook.
Okay.
There's something about checking things off a list.
I am a huge fan of that.
Right.
I love checking the box.
It feels good.
Yeah. And you can see your progress.
Exactly. Plays into that reward system we were talking about.
Right? It's like you get a little dopamine hit
Yes.
every time you check the box.
Exactly. And it reminds you of your goals.
It's like you're making progress.
You're moving forward.
Even if it's just a little bit.
Exactly.
I remember reading this study
Okay.
where they were trying to get people to like conserve energy. And they found that just making it really obvious to people how much energy they were using.
By giving them feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Just showing them
Wow.
that was enough to make them change their behavior.
That's so interesting how just seeing the data
Yeah,
can be so powerful.
totally.
And speaking of small changes,
Mhm.
Claire talks about this thing called the 2-minute rule.
Okay, break down the 2-minute rule for me.
It's all about making it as easy as possible to start a new habit.
Okay.
So instead of thinking about a 30-minute workout,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
you just tell yourself you're going to do 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, that feels very doable.
Right.
I can handle that.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Or like if you want to clean the whole house, I know overwhelming,
The worst.
just do 2 minutes of tidying.
Oh.
Just start somewhere.
It's like they say, just write the first sentence,
That's
and then
right.
you're like, okay, I can do the rest.
You're in motion.
Yeah. And Clear talks about this thing called the Goldilocks rule.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved that because
That's a good one.
you know how Goldilocks is like,
Right.
this porridge is too hot, this one's too cold, this
Right.
one's just right.
Exactly. And it's the same with habits.
Okay, explain that.
They can't be too hard
Okay.
because you'll get discouraged,
Right.
but they can't be too easy either
Oh, yeah.
because then you'll get bored.
It's got to be that sweet spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want that challenge,
Okay.
but you want to enjoy it too.
Right. Like when I first started running,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to run a marathon.
Oh, no.
And I like went way too hard.
Too much too soon.
And I ended up hurting myself and hating it.
Yeah, you have to find that balance.
Yeah, totally.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
He talks about how important it is to embrace boredom.
Wait, boredom.
I know it sounds weird, right?
I thought we were trying to make things more fun.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even the most exciting habits,
Yeah,
eventually they become routine.
that's true.
And that's where a lot of people give up.
They're like, oh, it's not new and shiny anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the people who succeed,
Yeah.
they're the ones who can stick with it, even when it's not exciting.
So it's not about chasing that like dopamine rush every time.
Right. It's about finding satisfaction in the process itself.
Even when it's, like you said, kind of boring.
Exactly. And that actually brings us back to identity-based habits.
Yeah.
Because if you're focused on who you're becoming, it's easier to push through those tough moments.
Yeah, it's like, this is part of being that person.
Exactly.
I love that.
It's about the long game.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
What's the one thing you want people to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is that small changes really add up.
They're atomic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So start small,
Okay.
build those systems,
I like it.
and don't be afraid of a little boredom.
Embrace the boredom.
Yes.
Okay, this has been amazing.
It's been fun.
I've learned so much,
Me too.
and I hope our listeners have too.
I hope so.
So that wraps up another deep dive.
Until next time.
Don't forget, even if it's just 2 minutes,
2 minutes.
start building those atomic habits today.
You get this.